connectivity. And that means that computers are writing into each other's network. They are actually penetrating with commands into each other's network. That's how the computing world works. Well, that made a lot of advancements. It fueled some wonderful things, but with the good comes bad. Unfortunately, not everybody is good in the world. And the malware developers and the ransomware developers said, hey, here's a great chance for us. We can use this continuous connectivity superhighway the same way everybody else is, because ransomware and malware has to write into your network. They install themselves into your network and then they propagate. They are using continuous connectivity to infiltrate our networks. Continuous connectivity is the key concept to think about in the context of cybersecurity. There's a great quote that I like from Chris Inglis, our first US National Cyber Director. If I were to score cyber the same way I score soccer, the tally would be 462 to 452 in the first 20 minutes. It's all offense, no defense. The offense, obviously from the malware or ransomware side, is they're poking and prodding. They're finding every hole that is access into our networks. You'd think on the defense side, you'd have things, but the defense actually turns out to be offense also. What are we doing? The industry has taken the view that penetrations are inevitable, and let's try to focus on mitigating or lessening the recovery time and cost. And there's that one word I don't really like very much, inevitable. Why should we as an industry tell our customers that we're going to provide some assurances to protect you, but you're going to have to live with inevitable penetrations?
It always will be. I am inevitable.
I don't think we're living in a Marvel-themed world and Thanos inevitability, so there's got to be a better way to be able to do this. Let's look at the cybersecurity landscape. We'll use the quadrant that everybody seems to like in our industry. You've got design focus and controlled behavior at the top. Over on the right, business focus. At the bottom, code focus, which is identity and algorithm protection. And on the left, you've got technology focus. So we're going to look at each one of these quadrants holistically. I'm not going to try and point out products or services and plot them on the chart. We're going to really talk about the quadrant as a whole. So let's tackle the first, the upper left-hand quadrant. That quadrant is technology focused, design focused, hardware that controls some behavior. It stops some intrusions, maybe, low maintenance and cost. Examples are routers. Now, routers control behavior because they control traffic. Symantec tells us that 75% of all IoT devices that are infected with malware are routers. Routers aren't solving any of the cybersecurity issues. I don't think anyone in this audience believes that this upper left-hand quadrant is a solution. Let's move down to the second one. This is now technology with a code focus, where the concept is to use identity or algorithms to try and protect our systems. We'll stop some intrusions here. There's a higher maintenance and cost. Examples include firewalls, monitor and mitigate software, zero trust, some AI. Let's talk about zero trust for a second, because that's really become a bit of a buzzword in our industry. Professor Virgil Gligor of Scilab at Carnegie Mellon University in 2022 published an article called Zero Trust in Zero Trust. He said that zero trust meant that a service needs to be trusted unconditionally and with certainty. Because of that, he also said that zero trust is unachievable in an enterprise network. Let that sink in for a second. Zero trust is unachievable. Well, why did he say that? He said that because, as he puts it, what zero trust monitors network devices continuously to help stop the inevitable penetrations early. Well, there are those two words again, continuous and inevitable. The His view is that the malware developers have a distinct advantage over software developers. And that's in that the malware developers can understand what the principles are of the algorithms that are trying to protect our systems, whereas the programmers don't have any static malware to be able to check against. You remember the 560,000 malwares every day? There's no target to be able to aim at. The issue with zero trust, or the issue with really the software that is in this quadrant, is that software is logic, logic is math, math works the same for you as it does for me. Well, if I remembered my calculus, it might work the same for me, but you get my point. Uh, the because of that, software can always be hacked. And so the issue is, how do you deal with the inevitable penetrations of software? And the answer is you just can't. You have to live with it. And that's not really the right answer. Going to the bottom right quadrant, this is where we see more sophisticated software like AI, metadata accumulators. There's going to stop more intrusions. It's going to cost more. Remember the 277 days and the 9.5 million in the IBM report that I told you about? The IBM report also goes on to say that if you had AI or more sophisticated software protecting your system, you could reduce the amount of time it takes to identify and contain a breach by about 108 days, and you could probably decrease the cost by about 1.7 million. So they admitted or told us that AI and these metadata accumulators are not solving cybersecurity. Yes, you're lessening the life cycle by about 40%, lessening cost by about 20%, even though there are a lot of other costs, people, time, efficiency, et cetera, that go into it, but you are not solving the problem. So where does that leave us? Where do we go? We go up into the top right quadrant. This is design focus, controlled behavior with a business focus. Hardware. The objective of this quadrant is to prohibit all intrusions and penetrations at a low maintenance and cost. Now, look, let's talk about maybe the one intrusion that we can't really stop at the moment. If somebody bribes an employee, takes their credentials, steals credentials, we can't protect you from yourself. But the objective of this quadrant ought to be to stop as many penetrations, breaches, intrusions as possible. So why hardware? Professor Frank Stagano's big stick principle, which I really like, whoever has physical access to the device is allowed to take it over. That means that most hardware is created with changeable or flashable memory, meaning that the engineer sits in their desk, his or her desk, and reaches out to the hardware out in the field and can make changes to it, which was great for the engineer because the engineer didn't have to then get in their truck or car and go over and deal with the hardware. But the problem is, if it works for the engineer, guess what? It works for the malware and the ransomware adversaries. And they use that and they can go in and change the hardware. So the first concept of our new old paradigm is, let's create hardware that cannot be changed. Non-changeable, non-flashable memory. Once you do that, you control how things work. Your firmware can no longer be changed by a bad actor. Things are going to work the way you intend them to work. So once you have that controlled environment, let's see. We go back to our, once you have the controlled environment, what's the next step? Well, instead of identity that was in the bottom half of this, we're going to talk about behavior. And what does that mean? Well, every packet that comes into your network has to tell the hardware what it's going to do. Is it going to read, write, create, delete, insert? If it wants to read, well, okay. But if it wants to do any of those other things, that means it wants to change something in your system. Why should you ever let an unauthorized person enter your system and change anything? The answer is you really shouldn't. We're building a roadblock to continuous connectivity. So in this hardware that we're building that has non-flashable memory so we control the environment, we would have a read port. And that read port would be where most of the traffic would go through, but only reads would get through. If anybody tried to come through that port with a command other than read, they'd be stopped. You'd have a read-write port where you'd have your handful of predetermined people who needed access to get in. That port would be controlled also by the firmware through a designated VPN, two-factor authentication. Even if somebody managed to find that IP address, they really couldn't do much with it. So you'd have non-flashable memory, you'd have a read-only port, you'd have a read-write port. How does this work? Well, for instance, it does really well for data protection or remote systems. For instance, financial information, HIPAA information, SCADA systems that control all of our critical infrastructure, ATMs, example, financial information. So you've got financial information in your company. Lots of people need to see it. Your CEO, handful of vice presidents, some of your salespeople, maybe even third parties external. They should be able to look at that data, but there is no way they should be able to change it. Whereas your CFO and your controller might be the only two who have access through the read-write port to be able to actually change that data. Say another example might be a well, that you've now connected that drilling rig to the internet so you don't have to drive a truck out there every day to monitor it. Well, lots of people need to monitor it and know what's going on. You stick one of this piece of hardware out on that well, lots of people would be able to monitor. Only those one or two engineers that need to get in to give it any instructions would actually be able to get through. You'd also want this hardware to be essentially plug and play. There's no reason to upset any ecosystem. You should still be able to use any of the firewalls or identity algorithms that you want to use for username, passwords, et cetera. You should not need to change any of the systems that it is protecting. Literally should just go in line in a plug and play concept. It would also be cool if it had a reporting function so that it would report back to the users to tell them who tried to come through the read port with any instruction other than read. That way you might even be able to figure out if somebody has penetrated your system and is trying to do something to the piece that you're trying to protect. Therefore, if we are going to try and stop inevitable penetrations from ransomware and malware actors, we've got to have specialized hardware.
I am inevitable. I Iron Man.
Specialized hardware. So, look, I know this isn't supposed to be a sales speech, but by the same token, if you're breathing, you're selling. So here's a picture of our hardware, our patented hardware that does everything that I just told you about. It has non-flashable memory. It cannot be changed remotely. It has a read port where most of the traffic goes through and allows reads to go through, but nobody can get through to scramble or change your data. It has a read-write port where the people who need to get in can get in and change things. It has a WAN port that allows for reporting, and it even has a fourth IP port, which is the port that connects over to whatever it is you're trying to protect. It's secure. There is no inevitability here. It works. Our systems are running on it. We'd love to talk more to anybody who is interested. In that vein, my co-founder, Vic Friday, who's sitting up here in the front, and me, we're both here for the conference. We'd love to talk to anybody about it. We really appreciate it. I'm going to leave you with these final last thoughts that I've cribbed from Tommy Lee Jones talking to Will Smith in Men in Black. 1,500 years ago, people knew that the Earth was the center of the universe. 500 years ago, people knew that the Earth was flat. 20 minutes ago, you knew that that software was the solution to cybersecurity. Imagine what you'll know tomorrow. Thank you very much.
One more time for David Ron. Well, are you ready to venture beyond the familiar horizons of gaming? Buckle up, we're about to embark on a thrilling journey into the heart of creativity with our next session. Oh, sorry. Stand by, we're doing an award first. Let me grab, I just need my phone really quick. Sorry. Okay. Perfect. Alrighty, we do have one last award before we get to our another award ceremony. We just want to make sure that we hit you guys all. So, bringing up to the stage, I have Vishal Chopra, the Outstanding Leadership Award. Vishal is the CEO and founder of the Umwelt People Tech Solutions, Inc., providing over 2 decades of expertise in HR, coaching, mentoring, and education. His visionary leadership has propelled Unwell AI to revolutionize the workplace culture through innovative HR technology, making him a distinguished panelist in this HR tech event. Okay, now we're back. I told you guys my notes were funky today. Let's see. Okay, but our next session we are going to embark on is innovation in gameplay, how indies are pushing the boundaries of game design. Forget everything you thought you knew about video games because inside developers are here to flip the script. Give a huge round of applause to our speakers, Daniel Baldwin, CEO of Game Day Inc. Do you have David Baldwin? Okay, he's on his way. So we get to hang out and stall for a little bit. Um, David Baldwin? Oh, Daniel Baldwin. Okay, perfect. Alrighty. Well, here we go. Give it up for Daniel Baldwin.
Should be good. Hello, hello. Check, check, 1, 2. Perfect. So my name is Daniel Baldwin. I am the CEO and co-founder of Game Day, or as we like to call it, Game Day Universe. Our mission is to enrich lives, to help build and support communities, to create spaces for teamwork, provide opportunities for leadership, and we do that through our immersive STEM academic programs and our workforce development programs. What I'd like you to do is imagine transforming the passion for gaming into a powerful force for education and career development. This is Game Day Universe. It's an innovative fusion of esports entertainment, immersive STEAM education, and workforce development, all within our nationwide network of state-of-the-art technology event spaces. At Game Day, we're not just reimagining gaming, we're reshaping futures and supporting the communities we're in by leveraging the universal appeal in gaming, which touches 75% of Americans nationwide. We create a bridge to invaluable skills in STEAM, science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics. And we offer pathways to higher education, exciting careers, and especially for those in underserved communities. Because nobody should be limited by their opportunities because of their social, economic, or location based needs. So, uh, I'm excited to be out here and be able to speak with you guys. Um, D, am I being joined by you today as well? I'm not positive the format for the fireside chat. I think we're supposed to engage. Okay. So you guys, I'm being joined up here today. You guys, I'm being joined up here today by D Jones, the president of L3C, Gaming and Community Organization.
Thank you, everybody. I am D. Jones. I'm the president and CEO or chief energy officer because I believe the energy you put into things is what you get out of it. So I'm the CEO, chief energy officer of Jump Ahead O3C. We are a social impact organization that actually focuses on social impact. So we use gaming as an outlet to educate people on social issues that hit communities the hardest, underserved communities, people in the hood, people in poverty. And I'm very excited to chat with you guys, let you guys know about the cool things we do. I just recently had an esports competition February 17th. I have a partnership with the NBA, so they donate me copies of NBA 2K, and we use NBA 2K to educate youth and communities across the city that I stay in. I developed something called the Youth Justice Influence League, so I have a direct partnership with our court system, the 17th Circuit Court, where I actually developed something called the Youth Justice Influence League. So we actually educate the kids on social issues because the school to prison pipeline is an actual thing. A lot of people don't know about that. But we actually educate the youth on real world issues, and we find good speakers that work in government and finance, esports coaches, people that actually care about the youth, but let them know about the real world because once those kids get into high school and they get out of their parents' house, I mean, the real world is a hard thing, and if you don't learn how to survive in the real world, then life is going to be harsh. And a lot of these kids are already in poverty and bad circumstances. So I developed the esports league to help these kids. But back to the competition we did on the 17th, I used esports to educate people on social issues. So we did an NBA 2K competition for a $2,000 cash prize, but we also had our political party, the Democrats, there. So the Dems were there. I invited the Republicans, but the Republicans didn't show up. So they actually educated people on the social issues and the policies and the politics that they actually do for underserved communities, and letting them know the issues that they're working on to help change the circumstances of people in poverty. We also had Consumers Energy there, who actually brought 6 electric vehicles. So we actually educated people in the hood, in poverty and underserved communities on electric vehicles. They learned where chargers were. They learned how to charge EVs. They actually got inside EVs. So we got at least 30 plus people from the hood, young adults, young kids inside EVs. We also had a solar panel there, so we educated them on solar energy and green energy and infrastructure and finances. So I'm looking forward to this chat. Thank you.
So now, D, you and I were talking a little bit before we came in here.
Yep.
And one of the things that really stood out to me was the opportunity that you self discovered to change your career path and the direction that you were going. Uh, you really embodied this representation of, you were going down the wrong way, right?
Yeah.
And through gaming, what you discovered was that you had an opportunity to establish better community, better connections, and that you were using those skills to trampoline yourself into a better pathway.
Yeah.
You got yourself not only out of trouble, out of those probationary situations, but to the point where police officers are asking to take pictures with you and saying thank you, right? Is
Yeah. So it's crazy because I actually started last year. I've always been a gamer, always loved video games, been a game head since I've actually seen video games. But I wanted to do something positive for my community because we didn't have esports. We had basketball, we had all the traditional sports, but I didn't see, and I knew we had esports, but it was predominantly white people that were doing esports, and we didn't have esports in the underserved communities and people in the hood that actually were doing gaming competitions. So I went to a Detroit Pistons game because I stay in the state of Michigan, and seen I end up seeing the platform, the Pistons GT, and seeing that they were doing like $1,000 esports competition and giving away jerseys and stuff like that. And I was just like, all right, I'm a gamer. I need to do something with my company. So I end up doing $1,000 esports competition, connected with the NBA people on LinkedIn, and ended up getting 8 copies of NBA 2K and built a partnership with the NBA and did an esports competition. I was able to get our sheriff's department to actually sponsor it, which was pretty cool because a lot of people get locked up in the trenches and they don't understand this difference from city police to to sheriffs. So it was cool to have our sheriff's department there, and a lot of our politicians from the county, the city, state representatives, state senators. They all came to the esports competition. My very first competition, I was able to get Steelcase, which makes furniture. Steelcase is a global company in the city I live in, and they make esports furniture. I was able to get a lot of organizations that never really activated into esports or wanted to get activated into esports, but nobody were doing the competition. So yeah, I have politicians. I've been able to educate politicians. Me being an advocate, going to King County Board and City Council and speaking to them. I actually got the King County Board to actually put together a budget. So I actually be helping build esports labs, and I'll be getting paid about $25 an hour to consult with them. So just speaking out and just I would say just sparking the passion that I have, and just going out there and going after the goals and visions that I've seen have actually created a lot of additional opportunities for me to actually work with the government and partner with the government, and now they're actually paying me to help create those labs and actually create access to a lot of the gaming companies and esports labs to develop infrastructure and create those opportunities for those kids to go through college and eventually become esports players.
So I think that's really amazing, and you mentioned a couple of things there. First is through gaming, you took a situation where I think common ground isn't often thought about, right? Uh, the sheriffs and the police officers are on one side,
Hmm.
and then you're on the other side, and there is a lot of people that probably identify with that divide, right?
Yeah.
And through gaming, you found this common ground, you found this connection, and really what you found was the opportunity to build and support community and create this rapport and this building relationship, right?
Yep.
And one of the words that you said is access. Uh, at game day, we have this phrase that we talk about. We've all heard knowledge is power, right?
Yeah.
And we don't believe that. It used to be knowledge is power. And that's where the power of a university degree came from, right? Is they could control and gatekeep the access to that knowledge to the elite few, to those that could afford it, to those that were in the right social or economic situations. And knowledge is no longer where the power lies, it's access to that information. See, anybody with a phone, anybody with technology can have some of that knowledge. And so it's not something that is as valuable as it once was, but now it's creating the access points. It's places like L3C and what you're doing. It's places like Game Day that are creating opportunities for youth or for young adults or for transitioning adults to have access to these tools, to these resources, so that they can discover their own new opportunities, right?
Yep.
And a lot of the things that we're talking about isn't just playing video games. It's not just going and wasting 5 hours playing some Valorant or League of Legends. It's actually the connections from those video games into education, right? It's into science, technology, engineering, arts, mathematics. So STEM or I guess it's turning into STEAM now, right?
Yep.
But it's taking someone that's playing Minecraft and showing them how they can learn about architecture or city development or planning. It's taking someone who's playing League of Legends or Call of Duty and showing them how they can get into project management or getting into leadership, right? Someone who's playing Rocket League. I mean, I like Rocket League. I like to go play some Rocket League, but you're learning strategy. You're learning teamwork, communication skills,
Leadership.
leadership. You can take someone that's playing Rocket League and put them with a team, and they can transition those skills to take them further on in their lives, right?
Yep.
Um, Real careers are being developed, and it's not the careers like I think a lot of people think of, which is just development or gaming careers, or I'm going to go work for Blizzard or Riot. These are careers in the military. These are careers that are in companies like IBM or Microsoft, or even a lot of local community government and politics.
Yep.
To have these abilities to communicate, to strategize, to stay calm under pressure, to handle stressful situations. These are all things that can be learned and transitioned directly from gaming. One of the things that we felt was a huge impact is the research, right? The research about gaming, that when someone has an opportunity to learn something in a gamified environment, they can learn it up to 2 times faster than learning in a traditional environment. When it's learned in a gamified environment, that same research shows that there is an 80% performance improvement, that there's a 60% retention improvement, and that there's an 80% application improvement. So, what that means is that not only did I learn it faster, I retained more of it, and what really counts is whether or not I can apply it, right?
Hmm.
If I learned it and now I can use it for something.
Different things too.
And people that are learning these things in gamified environments, their trajectories are higher. And one of the really neat things is the communities that are forming around this, right?
Yeah.
You don't just have a bunch of uh, kids and young adults that are on a one-way ticket to mom's basement.
Hmm.
You actually have people with ambitions and career goals. They don't want to be where they're at. And so what they're using is the gaming to move their lives and their entire communities
Change the
into a better
trajectory.
direction.
Yeah, and a thing that I wanted people to know is like I started my first esports competition. I did my first esports competition April 22nd, and I'm a visionary. I've always had a global vision for things that I wanted to do. But my first esports competition got me recognized by esports league called the Ultimate Endgamers League, which is based in Virginia. uh they found me, and now I'm actually from all of the esports competitions. I was doing $1,000, $2,000 esports competitions. They found me, and I was able to bring them, which they already had a platform where they were competing for $100,000. We actually I actually helped them bring their $100,000 esports finals to my city. And June 8th, they're going to host $100,000 esports finals at the DeVos place, which are billionaires.
Did you just say a hundred
a
thousand
hundred
dollars?
thousand dollar esports finals at the DeVos place, which are billionaires, and we're going to be doing that June 8th. So this, this having the passion, the energy, putting the love into what you believe in gaming is bigger than video games. There are careers, there are opportunities, there are people that need to see that this is possible. You need to break those societal barriers um and inspire and spark innovation because if I never did these esports competitions, I would have never been able to do the things that I'm doing. I even became vice president of a esports organization in Detroit, Michigan, where we're developing a film called Gamers. We have a energy drink. We also have a esports cafe, and we have an app called Play Esports, which I have this the hoodie on. And so if I never did these esports competitions, I actually have careers now where I actually oversee a lot of these things and actually give creative feedback to the film we're developing. And we're actually going to be speaking to Disney about the film and getting it on Netflix and all of these different outlets, and just showing the youth that I'm a living example of going out there, sparking innovation, hosting the esports competition, and advancing your career, and also bringing tourism, bringing different companies, bringing that economic impact. I'm really big on economics, and we're going to have a large economic impact. I'm talking about bringing $100,000 esports finals to the DeVos place, which are billionaires, and then I sat there on a call with the DeVos place, and they said that they want to continuously host these competitions and bring the finals there. And the UEL was actually out there in where were they at? They were in Qatar and connected with the Qatar government, so they possibly might get a investment from the Qatar government, and that's pretty cool because now we're building all of this synergy. So once we all come together and we align and we host that esports finals June 8th in the city at the DeVos place, it's going to be huge, and I just look forward and excited about it. So I'm just a true example of just going out there, going after your passions, going after your goals, and showing the youth and young adults and anybody that if you have a vision and if you have a vision for your life and you want to go out there and do something beautiful and spark innovation and have an economic impact, that it actually can happen.
So, a couple of things I hear there is those aren't small titles you're throwing out, and I'm not talking about the gaming titles. You're using words like VP, right?
Yeah,
And president and co-founder. You went from um, quite literally being a victim of the system, being another statistic,
yeah,
to being someone who's a role model,
yep.
being someone who kids and youth can look up to. But let me ask you this as well. How has that impacted your mental health, your confidence? How has that impacted your resilience?
Oh man, I would say I have an undying confidence, but I'm a very confident individual, and I believe the challenges. I love to be in leadership positions and do the hard things. I would I would do the hardest job because I believe there's strength and there's knowledge and there's a intrinsic learning that you do, like intrinsic internally you learn things from being hands on and active, and so um it has had a it has a positive impact on my mental health because I'm always happy, I'm always positive. But I think the thing that really gets me is just hearing the stories of thank you for this or funny stories. So I actually I actually was somebody who went through the criminal justice system when I was young. I actually brought a gun to school, and I wasn't trying to kill anybody. I was just trying to impress people that I was smarter than people from the hood, just like me, and just trying to let them know I was about that life. And I ended up doing six I did 4 months in a juvenile detention and I did 6 months in a residential home. And I remember walking through the halls and the first thing I told myself is D, this is not you. You're going to get out, you're going to graduate, and you're going to play basketball. And I ended up getting out and I ended up leading my team to the state championship my senior year. We won the state championship conference state title. We ended up getting on the news. The angriest lady on the campus was the nicest lady, and she was very nice to everybody. And uh, you can uh, you can inspire people that you never thought. You never know who's watching. And to this day, like the kids that just let me know that, hey, you inspired me, you let me know that I can do anything. Like I stay in the second worst city for economics in America for African Americans to live, and so a lot of people are just they love the things that I do, and I can't stop. Like if I stop, then who's going to do it? Who's going to pick up that baton and run and spark that innovation and that passion and lead that next generation of leaders and let those kids know that are in the Youth Justice Influence League that are on probation and surveillance that you can be that gamer, that you can be that person that works in Hollywood, that you can work on esports productions. You don't have to be that gamer, but you can work on the production side. You could be a shoutcaster. You could be a person that actually develops games. I also work for a company called Blackpoint BR, and we're developing a game on the Unreal Engine. Epic Games developed the Unreal Engine, and so I actually help develop infrastructure and connect colleges, universities, communities, um, all of those different organizations to Epic Games and help them get access to the educational tools that they have to spark innovation, design video games, develop video games, work within the Fortnite ecosystem, and I can't tell you how it just helps me just feel like being able to get access to, one of my favorite games, but also help organizations across the United States. And Epic Games goals aligns with the United Nations goals, which my goals align with the United Nations goals of getting people out of poverty and helping create economic impact and affordable housing and clean water and those different things that a lot of different countries suffer from. So I love and the energy goes out to those different countries, and eventually we'll get out there and create an economic impact and positively affect lives across the planet. Eventually, one day.
I really actually do believe that. So again, I'm a statistic nerd, right? I actually didn't come from gaming. My wife and I were against gaming. I came from 15 years in operations and finance. And the reason I actually started becoming a gaming advocate was because I was having a deteriorating relationship with my 12-year-old son. Our relationship was really on a one-way ticket to where I saw him headed towards the prison system,
Hmm.
uh, and we didn't have a relationship on the other end of this the way that I saw it. His grades were at like a 1.0, but the most frustrating thing about that was that I knew that he was undercutting his potential. I knew that he was a smart kid, and I knew that this wasn't the story the way that it was supposed to be told. And right about that time, this movie came out called Gran Turismo. And in Gran Turismo, Jan Marlboro goes from playing the PlayStation sim racing game to becoming an actual race car driver. And he led his factory team with Nissan to the Le Mans and actually podiumed, became one of the most legendary race car drivers of all time. And that really struck me. Are those skills that kids learn in video games, can they be transitioned into the real world? I went home and I said, my son's name is Carson. I said, Carson, tell me about this game that you're playing. And he's excited, right? Like he's like, "Oh yeah, Dad, I'm playing this game called War Thunder." And I'm finally showing interest in what he wants. And he's like, "Okay, Dad, yeah. By the way, the premise of War Thunder is that they take these airplanes and they dogfight them, but they have to start at like World War I era airplanes, and they slowly upgrade them until they're in modern era airplanes like F-35s and SR-22s and stuff." And he's like, "Yeah, Dad, it's like 1949. We're getting to the tail end of World War II. And they just came out with this invention for the aircraft, which changed the aerodynamics of it. But I'm really excited for like the 1954 when they start to upgrade this on the wings and it's going to change the fuel efficiency." And he's naming all of this stuff and he's giving me dates and he's telling me history, alignments. I went to his school and I said, "Hey guys, he's in English and art and pottery. I need him in physics, engineering, robotics, and piloting." And they looked at me and they said, "Are you out of your mind? This is the kid with a 1.0 that we can't keep out of the principal's office, and you want to put him in the hardest classes we've got?" I said, "Yeah, let's see." My son has a 3.8 GPA right now, and he's on set to get his pilot's license next year. But it was really exciting, and our relationship has done nothing but grow stronger over the past couple of years. So, again, another example of seeing these skill sets that transition someone and take them out of the trajectory that they're currently in and giving them something positive, giving them something to look forward to, building their mental health and their confidence. And can this be applied towards other games, not just War Thunder or not just Minecraft, not just Fortnite or Rocket League or NBA, Call of Duty? All of these things have one thing in common, and that's the fact that they build communities, they give opportunities, and they really do develop these skills that are transitional. And so I would say if you want to, really support a lot of the things that me and Dee are talking about out here, go take a look at L3C.
Jump ahead, O3C.
Jump ahead L3C. Go take a look at GameDayEsports.com or GameDayUniverse.com. And what you'll find there is that whether or not it's in Michigan or Salt Lake City or Atlanta or Las Vegas, you're starting to have these um, innovators and these leaders pop up that are driving this forward. But the industry is still so young, right? I think a lot of people, if we were two other companies that were not in gaming, we would be competitive, right?
Yeah.
My company would not like your company because we would be against each other. But actually, that's not the way that it works in this case. I want nothing but to support your company because the better I can build you and what you're doing, the more that that supports me and what I'm doing. And I think that that's another example of how gaming communities are so supportive. And one thing that when you look at these community growths, right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people say, I'm gonna get a job and I'm gonna finally get out of this place. I'm gonna leave my community. I'm gonna go somewhere else. But that doesn't help the community. That actually destroys the community, right? But with gaming and because of the access that it provides, you have people that are actually able to stay within their communities and help elevate the community as a whole, right?
Yep,
The
and build the
rising tide lifts
infrastructure.
all ships.
Yep.
And so you don't have to leave the community in order to create these opportunities. You can actually build the entire community as a whole. Again, you said tourism, right?
Yep.
Bringing project development, helping out the community government, helping out politics,
The government
economic
love those tax
situations.
revenues. They
So
love those people that can bring those tax revenues. So that's the cool thing about it. And about the game design part 2 is just the cool thing about games is that you can create an ecosystem. You can create communities. You can help communities. You can bring economic impact. So those, indie game developers that have, cool ideas and want to be able to develop a game, like think of the positive impact that it can have on the planet. Because think of our favorite games that we love, that we kicking in with our friends or our loved ones, and we play those games, and it help us build us, it help us build that love, it help us build that passion, it help us build that community, it help us build that sense of togetherness. And I just want people out there that have an interest of gaming. If you have a cool video game that you want to develop, think of all of the people that can play it. Think of the esports competitions and the impact that it can have. Like I said, like we I work for a video game company called Blackpoint BR, and some special force veterans are developing a game on the Unreal Engine. And as of now, they're in North Carolina working with young kids in North Carolina at the North Carolina Esports Academy, and they're working with these kids, and they're getting hands-on experience with the Unreal editor for Fortnite. And they're helping us develop this game, and eventually we'll be getting some grant funding from Epic Games to develop this game. And eventually we're going to have that beautiful game that will be it's just as cool as Call of Duty, but it actually be some special force veterans, people who actually served our country, actually developing the game. And so this it's going to be different. And they have a lot of games and cool stuff scanned into the game. And I'm very excited about this game because it's going to bring economic impact. But as I was saying, not just that, but the Ultimate In-Gamers League, the esports league that I actually helped bring to our city, they actually have a unique spin wheel, which they have 33 different titles. So they play 33 different titles, and they spin in um, whichever title that it lands on the spin wheel. They play that game and they compete for points. And the game that we're developing is actually going to be a game that will be on that spin wheel once that game is finished and developed. It is going to be played in this professional esports league where I'll eventually have a team and they'll continuously come to my city and compete. And so I want people to think about the infrastructure and the cool things of how a game can actually have a large impact on different facets of life and different facets of business.
So that's one of the cool things that you're saying there is if someone had a game idea, right? They've got this concept in their head. I don't know anything about development. I don't even know where to start. I don't know how to build or develop a game or work with Unreal Engine.
Yep.
But within these communities, right? These communities stretch across the nation. They actually stretch across the globe.
Yeah.
And before you know it, I might not know those things, but I bet you there's someone within the community that does.
Yep.
And how fast do you see people jump on to help with these projects, to create support networks? And next thing you know, it goes from concept to design. You're recruiting a team of people that are helping you develop it. And then it's on that spinning wheel. And again, the mental health impact, the confidence that that provides, letting someone know that it's not just a dream, it's something that's truly possible and
Yeah.
probable if you take the chance and put that first step forward.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm a living example. I eat, breathe, and poop this stuff, as they say. And I'm just very like, it's just crazy because I really started a year ago. And under a year, I helped bring 100. I started from $1,000 to 100,000. It's 100, like 100 times the impact in under a year. And I put all the love and energy and passion I had into this. And the the crazy thing about this journey is it's like this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning of the cool things that I've been doing, the economic impact, um, the change of shifting people's thinking, getting people to get out there and go after their visions, and helping those indie game developers and those visionaries and young people that want to get into gaming, and inspiring those parents to let their kids be gamers and actually support their kids if they want to eventually get that gaming PC or they're on the Nintendo Switch or things like that. People also don't know, like with the Unreal Engine and the creative side of Fortnite, you can actually develop your own universe using the Nintendo Switch. So you can actually use the consoles, and it's a pretty cool thing. So I just really want to be able to broaden people's horizons with gaming, just because it's bigger than just picking up a controller. Like this creates economic impact. It breaks societal and social barriers. Like I said, I have police officers wanting to take pictures with me, and so they can show their kids that I'm the guy who's bringing video games to their schools and around the community and doing cool things. And I'm just very excited to be able to. I'm thankful to even be here. Like last year, I was here at the Internet 2.0 conference, and I got an award for the being a visionary, but I never thought that I would be here speaking on a panel. I wanted to speak on a panel last year, but I never thought that I'd be here at the Caesar's Palace and speaking on game design and just the beautiful things that gaming can do for a society. And we're going to push that. We're definitely going to push that. We're definitely going to push the boundaries here. That's why we're sitting here, to push the boundaries.
Well, I definitely think that that's amazing, and I can already envision next year, right? Next year, we're not just gonna have you and me up here, D. but we're going to have more
Yep.
people, right? Each year that this has moved forward, it's grown, and the impact has grown, and the recruitment and the momentum has grown. And so again, I would encourage you guys, whether it's you, whether it's a friend, a child, somebody you know, help them get involved. And if you don't know where to start, two great places to start again, go to gamedayuniverse.com or go to
Jump Ahead L3C or thejumpahead.com.
jumpahead.com or jumpahead L3C, and you guys can find a way to get involved and help us continue this momentum and this traction that we've gained.
Yeah, I would like to say that if anybody would like to get connected to Epic Games, if you like Fortnite, if you want to be able to get that to your school district, your community, your college, your university, I'm best friends with the head of education for Epic Games. I would love to connect anyone to Epic Games to be able to get access to the Unreal Engine, the Fortnite creative, the Unreal editor for Fortnite. So your students, because not only do they have the not only do they have the educational tools, but they actually have curriculum and they actually align with a lot of the standards that states usually have to be able to credit students to be able to get them credit to, advance to, getting a high school diploma or getting a college degree. And like I said, these goals align with the United Nations. So you can actually gamify your classroom and actually educate the students on the different subjects that you educate them on in the classroom. But use esports and video games, games that they're always known that they're watching videos on, that they're watching live streams of their favorite players. You can actually use that in the classroom, and they can actually get credits to actually their diploma, and that will only make you cooler and make you a cooler educator. You'll probably be their favorite teacher, but you'll also be able to do something cool and innovative and spark passion that I know that will have a positive effect on your school district or wherever you work at.
So I just wanted to give you one thing really quick, as I think we're probably wrapping here. What's the time frame? Oh, we got plenty of time then.
Cool.
So when we're talking about Unreal Engine, right?
Hmm.
And this was something that I had to learn myself is you're using it in comparison for things like Fortnite, right? But Unreal Engine is actually the underlying simulation program that they use in film set design for creating some of those really cool effects and backgrounds in film and in Hollywood. Unreal Engine, if you do end up going to our website and you look at a couple of these places, our building concept was all done through Unreal Engine. And so, as a founder and as a creator for a startup, being able to create a visual aspect of what things are going to look like, what the building walkthrough is going to look like, um, that's all done on Unreal Engine.
Yep.
When you look at it in military engagement, they're using Unreal Engine for the F-35 and drone operator simulation programs. They're using it to create complex structures when they're going into engaged areas and trying to find out what a building or a city might look like as they're going through it. um, Unreal Engine can be used in so many different places.
Hmm.
And so, someone that develops the underlying knowledge and ability to use the Unreal Engine platform, uh, they can now go and create future architectural designs. They can now go and help create value for founders and startups or for companies that are looking at expansions.
Or renderings and all kind of things.
So,
Develop films, videos. A lot of people use it for videos and different things. So the Unreal Engine is just bigger than just developing games, but it hits all different kind of aspects and things that you wouldn't even notice. And a lot of the big companies that you probably love and brands that you love have actually used the Unreal Engine to actually, push some of their products and develop some of the prototypes for their products actually.
and here's the neat thing about that is I can tell you for the most part at these companies that are using that, it's not the executive management team that's using the Unreal Engine. Uh, it's someone that learned it and created that knowledge base, created that skill set, and that's a six-figure job,
It is
right?
easily six figures.
And do you have to truly have a college degree in order to use that?
You don't. I know an organization I actually connected with it at the Esports Trade Association in Chicago. It's called 404 Creative. They actually had no experience doing game design, just had a passion for game design, learned how to use the Unreal Engine, and now they're developing games for big brands and luxury brands. And they actually help Snoop Dogg, which Snoop Dogg actually has the Death Row Gaming, if you guys didn't know. He has Death Row Gaming, and they actually are developing games using the Unreal editor for Fortnite. And so it's a lot of popular, powerful people and celebrities that actually use the Unreal Engine and the Unreal Editor for Fortnite to actually develop their own gameplay and different game styles and universes within the Fortnite ecosystem.
Imagine the creativity that that unlocks as well. Is, we had Lincoln Logs when we were little, and then we had Legos, right?
They also have Lego Fortnite.
Lego Fortnite.
They got Lego Fortnite. You actually can develop and build within Fortnite too. So they really gamifying some of the, the coolest things that a lot of people learn how to build and things like that. Like I like the Star Wars spaceships that people build using Legos and things like that. So they actually have Lego Fortnite on the educational side for educators that want to be able to work with their, kids from K through 5.
And that's a fairly recent game that just came out, but the really neat thing is this is the new technology driven evolution towards creative building blocks, right? And you're giving the power of creation into anybody's hands, right? Being able to create a universe or a world that's only ever existed up here. And now you can make that something real, something that I can hand to you, right? Being able to tell stories, being able to communicate ideas across the planet. Um, we were mentioning earlier, we were talking about Dubai, right? So this isn't an American concept. This isn't a East Coast or West Coast concept. This is something that's global, right? And so you take these exact same transitional skills, uh, underlying and creating development in universes, cybersecurity, and team leadership, communication, project development. Uh, these are all highly in demand, highly skilled jobs. But the coolest thing about it is they're jobs you have fun doing, right?
I follow my passions. One thing I learned as a young guy, and I've listened to my elders. So if you are an older person, you probably give me some knowledge. I'll listen to you. But people always said, follow your passions because you don't feel like you're working. Like I don't feel like I'm working doing esports and gaming and the cool things that I'm doing because I'm truly passionate. I love this. Like I said, I eat, breathe, I poop this stuff, and it's this cool to like give people access to the. And the cool thing about the Fortnite ecosystem is that you can develop a playable game that billions of people possibly could play across the planet, and you also can get paid to use. So you can go use the Unreal Engine, the Fortnite editor, Unreal editor for Fortnite. You can use these free tools available to you. You could develop a playable game, and you actually can get paid. You get paid off of Fortnite based on how long individuals are playing in your universe. So if you develop a cool universe that people love, if you have hours and hours and people all across the planet spending hours playing within a universe, you're going to have a nice paycheck. And so that's the cool thing about it is giving people access to these games and letting them know that this is possible. I mean, you'll be rolling in some dough one day.
You know what? And I don't think it's that far a stretch of a concept. So a couple of things there. When you have fun with what you're doing and you learn how to get paid to do what you already have fun doing, um, you don't have to work a day in your life, right? And that is something that unfortunately most of our society has no idea what that's like. In fact, I was just reading a research report, 80% nationwide job dissatisfaction. And the actual research report said 80% of people nationwide hate their jobs. And it's not because nursing is a bad job, or piloting, or being a police officer, or a janitor. None of those are bad jobs. It's because you have pilots that should be nurses, and you have nurses that should be pilots, and you have people that are janitors that should be engineers. But you have people that are mismatched and placed in the wrong places. It lowers engagement, it lowers productivity, it lowers self esteem and mental health. And this rotating door of people only keeping a job for 2 to 3 years, right? That's not the way it was supposed to be. It's a $7 trillion problem nationwide right now. That was a report by Grandview Research. $7 trillion in lost productivity. It can cost up to 2 times salary to replace an employee. That's in hiring, recruiting, training. That rotating door is expensive.
It is expensive.
But if you put the right person in the right job that's going to like doing that job because they have the skills, they have the passion and the drive to do that job, they're going to stay at it longer. They're going to produce at a higher productivity level.
Hmm.
They're going to have a better mental health. They're going to have a better engagement within their employee dynamic, interior wise, right?
Yep.
And you can substantially lower the negative impact of that nationwide. Can you imagine if we didn't have words like quiet quitting or rage quitting or burnout, right? I have heard those terms so many times lately, but you know what I don't hear? I don't hear gamers saying, I'm going to quiet quit this game. I'm going to rage quit this game. No, that doesn't happen, right? People like doing those things, but it's not that it's the game itself that they like doing. It's this underlying skill set that they're using. It's that teamwork, that leadership, that communication, problem solving, critical thinking, soft skills, hard skills, right?
Yeah.
If you can take and transition those skills into real life things, just like Jan Bro did with Gran Turismo, if you can transition that Minecraft player and show them how those skills are related to architecture or planning or development, if you can show someone how Call of Duty makes you a great team leader, can make you a motivational speaker, can make you a good friend, right? Someone just has to take that first step and let you know that you're allowed to do that. And I
It's
think
that
that that's
innovation.
people like myself and like you, D, that are kind of leading the way on that. But it's not just us up here, guys. There's people out there like Gordon Engel, Ian Coyne, Rob Chiarini, Marcus Esports Howard. There is amazing people all around that are helping us lead this charge. And we're all working for different places, but we're a community within the community because we all support each other.
Yep. Yeah. Shout out to Gordon Hinkle, man. He put on the Super Bowl esports event here in Las Vegas for the Super Bowl, which was the official Super Bowl esports event. But
Proud to
also
say
my
Game
friend
Day
Stephen
co-sponsored
Isaac,
that.
also Stephen Isaac, who's the head of education for Epic Games. Just being able, only 1% of the gaming industry is African Americans. And so me being up here is helping me bring diversity, equity, and inclusion to the gaming industry, which is very, very needed. I hold people to a high ethical standard. And I feel like in a lot of industries, we don't get those ethical, good business practices. And I'm always a people first person. That's why I'm a social impact organization because we want to have a social impact on society and impact society positively, and then we do the profit second. And so I believe that the best businesses on the planet are people first businesses, and putting the people first and reinvested into the people that help you get those substantial and record profits. Like that's the thing that I'm very passionate about is just being able to bring ethical business practices to the gaming industry because I mean, people of color, I believe we have like $1 trillion in spending power, but we need to start developing these games. We need to start using our brains and just different people from different backgrounds and ethnicities. We need to start being the people that develop these games and creating jobs and careers and infrastructure for our states, our cities, and inspiring the next generation of gamers and people that want to design video games.
Well, Mark Twain said that travel is death to bigotry. When you expose yourself to new cultures and new people, it's hard to stay bigoted and narrow-minded, right?
Yep.
And one of the really neat things is gaming doesn't require the getting on the airplane first. All you got to do is log into the console, and you're exposing yourself to new communities, new people, new cultures, new language,
Yep.
and building that community. D, I've got to tell you, man, I am nothing but impressed, and I'm
Thank you. I
excited to have made a
appreciate
new
you, man.
friend.
I appreciate. Nice to meet you too,
Absolutely.
man.
All righty. One more time for the gentleman. That was a great talk. Well, have you ever wondered if we're on a brink of a tech nirvana? Join our next panel as we wonder the possibilities of pitfalls of our digital age. From AI wonders to futuristic gadgets, let's explore whether we are headed towards utopia or tech overload. Get ready for some mind bending ride. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's hear it for our next panelists to share their insights on the topic. Time for a tech nirvana. We have Jeff Saferth and Lena Cluckendart. Thank you.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Hello.
That was a very interesting conversation that we just witnessed,
Yes.
and that a lot of the things that they brought up are what I am seeing with the incoming tech nirvana. With me, it's not a question of if there is a tech nirvana, it's when. And it's not when, it's overdue. 50 years ago, we went to the moon, and we haven't been back because of policies, not because of technology, not because of desire of the citizens. It is because of policies in the government. The technology is here, the motivation, the talent is here in this country, in this world. We all want to unite and to see a tech nirvana. And that's why I'm so excited, because that's what my business is this upcoming tech nirvana. And I'm a writer, and I've been writing and having a vision of this for about 14 years at least. So very excited about this topic.
Hello, my name is Leena Kudakar. I'm the founder and CEO of Krishna Kash Technology Services. And I think what Jeff introduced was a very subtle and important point. I would like to start by saying when we say tech nirvana, let's take a moment to look at the word nirvan. It's a Sanskrit word, and what it originally, what we were taught about it is nirvan means to extinguish or to blow out. And what are we extinguishing? That restlessness, that constant desire to do something, either different or better, um, and to end the state of suffering, basically. But to end the state of suffering, behind that is the trick that you want to get away from the wants and desires because they are never ending. Now, when we bring this into the context of tech, now I'm shifting gears, I know, but when we bring it in the context of tech, I would say that I don't think we can say, oh, I want nirvana tomorrow. Yes and no. Either we are in nirvana or it is incremental nirvana, according to me. And we are making things better and better. We have the next gen of something. So from the world of technology, we've always had next gen. So we develop something and we come up with better ways to do things. We throw that away, or we improve it, or we come up with a next gen, and we keep going. And I think that's what touches the nirvana. It's not like, okay, we are done, we are in nirvana. And the other point I would like to say quickly is if we want to say tech nirvana, I know we all want to make the world a better place for everyone. We still need to define tech nirvana for humanity as the end users, um, the tech industry, the individual end user, the software developer, or the tech IT professional. All these different entities have different definitions of nirvana. I would like to throw that out there. I don't know if you agree.
So when I talk about tech nirvana and what I'm seeing, what I've envisioned is number one, the end of unemployment, and number two, free high-speed wireless internet to everybody on the planet. The internet is the greatest economic engine we've had, and we haven't even touched what we're doing. We're, if you look at how the internet's being used, it's being used to supplement, to add to the existing processes of the previous generation, the current generation. There, people still call on the phone, but it's on the internet. It's I'm not impressed with how we've treated the internet, but I am so excited about 2.0 because free wireless internet is going to be the greatest economic driver that I can envision, and that's how I'm going to end unemployment, or at least that's how unemployment is going to be ended. It's digital money, and it's not. And that's right here. I invented Scholars in 2010, um, and since then, um, I've been working I'm a writer, uh, and envisioning our species is going to end up. And the internet is the greatest thing that we could do. It is hardly any cost to provide internet, and we pay taxes. That's what our taxes should be providing to help the economy so that we get jobs. And that's the social contract, right? And the social contract now is just being overwritten. It is being ignored. It is being exploited by those in charge of writing our policies, those in big tech who have the lobbyists to write the policies. And that is what is holding us back. It is the policies. It is not the technology. Gen AI is okay. I'm not super excited about Gen AI bringing us tech nirvana, but other artificial intelligences is. Gen AI is very resource intensive. It is not good for our environment. However, though, one of the other things that I'm also excited about is the upcoming green tech evolution. That is what is also going to be so exciting, because when we can provide unlimited power, near unlimited power to every human being, and soon, I was in here yesterday and they're talking about wireless electricity, and is so awesome. That is the tech nirvana. That's what technology is going to allow us to break these invisible chains of our species. And I am just excited. Wrote a few books on it. Um,
Yeah, thank you for listing the wish list and the to-do list. And I think you're spot on about all the different things that this will bring and calling it nirvana. I still tend to think it's incremental, but these are great things on the list, and we can add more and more on the list. From what I understand, like if I can sum up what you're saying is you have picked some very good aspects of our society where how the solutions are going to solve societal problems, and these are some very important ones. And I'm sure we have others. We have the data privacy, we have the cyber security, we have the alleviation of anxiety for, in general, security. We have our AVs, antiviruses, softwares have a long way to go. So we have all those things. Those can also be on the wish list of the tech nirvana. All I'm saying is all that is great, and I'm not here to list that because I think the list cannot end and say, okay, tomorrow this is the point in time where we have tech nirvana. And that's not being pessimistic. I'm just being saying that we are happily incrementally going forward, and we're all trying to make the world a better place, and that's the best part. Um, but again, when we say, if we solve a problem, is that nirvana? Is that what you're saying?
so you mentioned earlier about nirvana being the ends of wants and needs. That's not at all what I think is ever going to happen. We are becoming even more greedier as a species. Our expectations are getting raised every day,
Yes.
and it's not an end of want or needs. It's end of no purpose. There is a lack of purpose in this country, in every country, and it's getting united. And that's in one of the speeches yesterday I heard. It was purpose-driven businesses outperform twice what a regular business does. And it is, yes, incremental is what we've got to do, right?
Yeah,
But
it has to be incremental.
but
Yeah.
what is going on right now is that we have the smartest people ever alive. We are more interconnected. We have almost all knowledge in our phone. So what is holding us back? It is not that um, people in each industry that you mentioned, because they're in each of those industries, there is a next generation uprising that is happening, and it's it's people that already mastered the current generation, what they do, and how it works for them, and then it's people the next generation. I got my next generation shoes on, seeing what was already done, and then coming up with something that is truly called worth next generation. My currency is next generation currency because it's digital money, it is client owned, and it is a profit sharing currency. And the difference between um, the current generation is U.S. dollars, right? The reserve currency of the world is a debt-based currency. So anything we ever do is just going to add more debt and more loans to the economy. That's how the economy grows, and that is absolutely stupid to me. Um, so that's where my business is. That's what my currency is, and then it's also the businesses associated, the brands associated with scholars. Time-based money is the exclusive coiner of scholars. When I actually do decide to bring it to market, but right now it is having the vision, because that is what a leader needs to do, is to set the vision and then convince and get the demand from employees, from customers, clients, from the officials that actually do make the policies and the decisions here that actually matter to people's lives. It is getting to them, and that's what the next generation, we've been quiet, we've been biding our times, paying our dues, and that is what is going to change. uh, I'm 40 years old now. I call myself an adult. So it is now starting to talk to people, and getting word out about that there is an alternative. It is not just wake up, work 40 hours a week, uh, talk about inflation, and then pay pay your 30-year mortgage. That's that is the definition of current generation. And if you want to talk to somebody that well, you talk to a young person about how this society is set up, how the economy is. It is there's a lack of there's no respect for it, and that's fine. It doesn't deserve respect, but it deserves solutions though, and that's where the money is in solutions. It's not just going along with.
Let me catch that
Oh, yeah.
that keyword, solutions. Hit the nail on the head. Say yes. Um, if each individual were to do their best part in their best mind, they would be working towards providing solutions to problems or providing the best solutions. Now, that's again relative. And yes, we go on providing solutions. And I would say that in particular, the tech pioneers and the tech industry will work hard to provide solutions from their whatever is in their control for the rest of the world. While doing so, are we raising the world's expectations? I would like to throw that out there. So, all that you said is absolutely great, and that does not get contradicted by this point I'm saying. Is if we think our job is to make things really nice and easy and great for everyone, of course, we want to remove any injustice. And like you said, we want to remove unemployment. That's a very noble thought. But at the same time, in our uh, good intentions of making the world better, are we raising people's expectations? Now, look at kids, our next generation. Are we thinking about them? Are we equipping them, or are we giving them things where they are, um, which raises their expectations, basically?
So what I'll say is that the best thing that we can do for young people is to raise their expectations. They should not be satisfied or allow to accept this, whatever this society is run. We need to, first of all, it's number one is raising expectations, because once people expect change, then there will be change. Um, When there is no expectations, that's how people, the current generation, the leaders that aren't forward thinking, that are just thinking quarter at a time to get Wall Street profits. That's not a long-term solution. That is not going to help the young people. And that's, I call my company is called The Everlasting. I don't call it be for myself. I call it for my clients. My clients, I want them to live forever. And we start by raising the expectations that they could. There's breakthroughs in science, in health that are, and it's not necessarily that you live long, it's you live longer. That needs to be the expectation. And it's not being burnt out and run to the ground by corporations that are working us 50, 60 hours. And it is about using the technology that is coming available. I was having a conversation earlier with AI pioneer, um, and we were talking about the benefits of AI and just talking about the time saved. It is that is where the technology to me is so exciting is the time freeing up to allow us to do more valuable um, tasks, more valuable actions to us. Um, that that's what gets me excited about the technology is the freeing up to do more important things.
Yeah, and I would like to clarify that I think we are using expectations in two different contexts. So, yes, we definitely should keep the expectations that the right should happen, I mean, to do right. And that should be instilled to make change. So, if a child is seeing that, oh, I don't have a recycle bin here, let me go and reach out to someone. Can we please have a recycle bin? So that kind of change, that kind of it, we want to instill those values in children, definitely. What I'm talking about is I want to do this in one click and not three clicks. That's the kind of luxury is what I would say. um, I think there's a fine line with probably what I was talking about, but not uh, the word expectations. It does, I mean, it depends on the context, of course, but
Well,
yeah, that's
the
all I'm
the
saying.
kids are already so expecting things to happen already. You look at movies. There's sci. I know that when I watch science fiction movies, part of me is jealous. Like, why can't we do this? They can imagine this. So what's holding us back? And as I'm meeting more and more next generation leaders in different industries, they their the breakthroughs are could be happening. It's a lack of money, right? Another one of the other panels, everything's possible through money, right? Well, I hope so because that's all I care about is money, right? But I don't care. Well, time-based money, I should say, right? Because that is what is the most important thing in the world, right? To each of us, we only have 24 hours a day, right? And out of that 24 hours a day, how much of that is considered economically valued in the current generation? Maybe 40 hours if somebody else decides that your time is valuable, right? But the other time, 24 hours a day, what's that? That's negative money because you got to pay rent, you got to pay taxes, there's endless taxes. You got to pay for food, right? There's no support for you. So if you're not making money, you're losing money. And that's if you're a young person, how are you supposed to feel about your country? There's not a lot of excitement in this for in the Gen Z, right? They're having a harder um,
They need motivation.
motivation and they need support. They need guidance. So we shouldn't be trying to take advantage of them and make them work for minimum wage while the big boss makes the money. That's how it's set up, right? That's how everything's set up is to take advantage of the younger people basically. And that's not fair because this is an economy, right? Everything that the economy, like Bill Clinton ran it, the economy's stupid, right? So we can't have nice things because of the economy. We have to have austerity because of the economy, and that's just total junk. That's I don't agree with that, and I don't think that is any way to live. And that's not civilization. That is just getting by, and it's just short-term thinking, one after another, piling on, and the technology that we have available, it's getting there, and it is just an exciting time, but it's also for some people that are thinking ahead of the future, but for a lot of people, this is one of the scariest times to ever be alive.
So let's say for a moment, all good points, and I could see you being the Batman. And if everybody wants to be that, that's great. But then we are talking about making the world a better place. Would we call that nirvana? Because, like meerkats, we make something better, something else is going to spring up. So it's just about the terms. I wouldn't call it a tech nirvana. I would just say that we are in a far better position now than before. And I think that we have more and more people thinking of, it's again, that is relative. And in some aspects, we are not. So um, I think if the topic is what are the solutions to make things better and what are some good ideas, I think you had some great ideas to bring to and I'm sorry I didn't bring many of them because I just am looking at it globally and saying, this isn't tech nirvana. This isn't
Oh,
nirvana.
I've been writing about this for 14 years, so I've I didn't need to make the list, but yeah. So the tech nirvana, what I call it, is evolution, and that's not, and that is what I'm so excited for. And this is something that I saw 14 years ago. I called the evolution. My point isn't necessarily what interests me. What drives me isn't to get um, attention, right, or to make money in the short term. It's to be a pioneer, a thought leader, to see where the vision is, where we're going, call it, get that timestamp, and then work on the rest of it later. Because it's a team effort. Nobody, Batman, Batman doesn't work by himself all the time, right? He's got Alfred,
You're
right?
saying we have to be all individual Batmans and then
Yeah.
work as a team.
AI
That's what the
Alfred. AI Alfred. That's what technology should be doing. It's your butler, your assistant to make you the greatest human being that you can be, greatest citizen. And that's what excites me because in the next generation, there's no limits to how much money you can make, how long you can live. There, but in the current generation, at in America here, you turn 65 and then the government gives you money not to work ever again. How stupid is that? Um, I there's because why I say that is because the older people are the most valuable people that we can have in a society, and we need to treat our older people much, much better than we currently are. We need to value them right now. So, so it's young people that are coming up, and then it's the older people, the older generation with their wisdom to help raise them up with their knowledge, with their guidance, their love and support, their compassion. We know almost all we know so many secrets of the world right now, and still this country, the civilization. We go to Las Vegas is looking pretty cool right now, but outside nothing has changed in a lot of towns, right? In 50 years, but now we can't afford that. We can't afford to just sit around and do nothing. In America, these other countries are India. I'm so impressed with what how India is driving this technology. It's I work with in my 9 to 5 we've got um, uh, India big teams, and they're some of the best people I've worked with. But it is coming together though. It is realizing that we're citizens of the world. We're citizens of Earth, and we need to not just treat each other better and value each other more. We need to fix this planet because we're in the middle of a climate crisis that is driven by greed. It is driven by short-term thinking, and it's driven by the not investing in the new technologies that will allow us to be free, that will allow us to get onto Mars, get onto the moon, and live there.
All great points. And in a parallel track, great points. And thank you. I wouldn't have come up with all of them. But I think people hearing all this are lucky. I would like to read your book. Um, on a parallel track, I would like to say I'm going to catch on another word, limits. So, like I said, it's never ending. While we are solving problems and while we are making things better for the world, are we making the same world weaker? What I mean by weaker and being, it's a little complex, not saying that don't keep expectation. I don't want to give the wrong impression. What I'm trying to say is, and on a parallel track, we also want to make humanity intrinsically stronger, internally stronger in the sense, yes, we want to do all these great things that you just listed, want to be the Batman. At the same time, we want to enable that spiritual strength. And speaking of tech or not, nirvana, I would say, as long as you're talking about all these things on the list, they're still in the material world. You want to step out. And that's a parallel track. I mean, you keep doing that. I'm not saying don't this is it's not an either or. It's complementary. So while we are improving the material world, we want to step out. Even in the tech sense, we want to step out and be an observer and look at where are we going. Otherwise, it's going to be never ending. And that's what will make us individually strong, and as a community, it will make us strong, is what I feel. Like when I say step out, it means, okay, the next gen, throw it out of the window, next gen, throw it out of the window, next gen. But as long as you're involved in that, um, it's just the world is going on. But if you step out and watch like an observer, you're a stronger person and you're a stronger community. And I think that complementing both together can be tech nirvana. What do you think?
Having that observer mentality is, I love it. Um, if you step back and, and 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 that's what I love about traveling too, is that that's allowed me to experience new cultures, um, uh, and to see how the other people live it, to observe, and and I've and the more you observe, like, you got to question, what are we doing, right? So it's like you had said, we want to be more valuable, but that is the opposite of what big tech is treating us. Big tech looks at us, they're advertisers, right? And so they want to just treat us like a product, just to throw the algorithm, right, is to just suck your time in on to just suck your time in so they can throw more ads than you. There's nothing empowering that I'm seeing except for the influencers, right, that are actually the small amount that actually make money on TikTok. The rest are just watching and helping to feed the beast. Um, but what what is and something that I saw recently too was kids today in America are growing up wanting to be YouTubers and not astronauts, and that is embarrassing. That is embarrassing. Um, that's and that was an American stat. The China was still raising astronauts, um, but that to me, when I saw that I'm still not over it. However, though, the YouTube does. I'm an old YouTuber from 2010, but it is there's some good things with YouTube, right? But it is just a TV channel that they're throwing advertisements, and the more time goes on, the more advertisements are thrown in front of us, the more intrusive the advertisements are. They're you can't the speaker phones, like the Amazon speaker phones, are listening to you, and they're throwing ads that they hear keywords that you say, and is a lack of privacy. So besides time, privacy is also my biggest, one of my biggest concerns. And I don't say I care about privacy in the sense of how it's being treated right now in the current generation where nothing happens with your data, right? Your data is it's supposed to be yours, but the companies use it. You don't get any money for it. Companies use it to better influence you, but we could be doing privacy a lot better because it is valuable. And if you can think of privacy as having an economic value, which I do, then you can think about how to make money from it. And when you can learn how to make money from it, that's when there will be changes. Because the economy, I love the economy. It's one of the greatest forces in it's in humanity. Because if we can unite in a economy, and that's what we do right now, we agree that uh, U.S. dollars are valuable and we exchange, right? But if we could do that better, which I am confident that we can, especially with free wireless internet provided to everybody, and not just anywhere on Earth, anywhere we can get a signal to and get people to, because Internet 2.0 is access. It's an access economy. That is where we need to be going to. Access economy. That's how we end unemployment. We value human beings more, not necessarily if they're where they were born at, because that's irrelevant to me. Is where you were born. What is important is what you think now, what you are committed to, what you've learned, what you've it's I we're citizens of the world, and if we can look at each other as that instead of looking at somebody as they're trying to steal a piece of your pie, because it is not. I don't believe in zero sum game. It's not. There's no zero sum game. There's always a benefit to somebody. So if we can figure that out and more equitably share the profits and figure out how the profits are being made, there is going to be no limit to where we can unite each other as clients, as client owners, because this planet is ours. We're client owners of this planet, right? And so the technology that we have now that people hundred thousands of years before didn't have. They didn't have this opportunity. We have this. We have the internet. We have AI making strides to help save our time, to be our assistant. The green tech. If we can start investing in not in better renewables, because the wind and solar, that's no answer. That's creating more junk. Um, but we can get our energy figured out because that's the data centers that are using up our data right now. They are using up so much resources, but the data is going to keep coming. We make data, and I love data. Data is one of my favorite things. Um,
But we just have to be careful not to make too much useless data. Like we try to narrow it down and probably,
well,
well,
what's to
AI
say
will
who? What's to
benefit.
say?
AI will
What's to
benefit.
say what's useless data? Because
AI will
we are
benefit.
we are living not for ourselves. We're living for our community. We pay taxes. We support. We get benefits, right? We have our community, and we live for future generations. I'm not a parent, but other people are. Um, and if we keep that in mind, that this data, what everything that we do has repercussions. We've got to stop thinking that we are just on our own and nothing matters because it does. Um, it's going to reverberate. The changes we make now, the improvements we make, is how we are going to be looked at as heroes by our future generations because we are going to be the ones to stand up and make a difference and not allow the just the same status quo to keep coming because if we do, there's only one way. If we maintain the status quo, there's only one way the species ends, right? There's only one future for the species.
No, not status quo. All great, but so what I would say is, just to sum up, even to about this conversation, I would say technological advancement is a double-edged sword, is what you're saying. In a sense, it's a double-edged sword. So we have to be really, it's like a skill. You have to be very careful about how we use it and how what we implement and what we invent. So there is a parallel track, and the good example that you gave is the kids want to be YouTubers. That, like, just take that example. So we want to equip them with, you know, just very enthusiastically, or just loosely with technology, or do we want to govern it, and do we want to? It's hard. It's not a very easy a problem to solve. It's like a slippery slope. It's like, that's why I call it a double-edged sword. There's a plus and the minus, but all things good. Nothing's going wasted in any of these ideas, because it's still in that material track, and we need another parallel track with it, even for the tech. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, the YouTuber, that's a double-edged sword because there's a YouTuber version of kids going around pranking people, hitting people, getting views, and just worthless um, content. But then a YouTuber making scientific shows that are breakthroughs, or there is definitely, and it is starts with education. It's getting our kids educated because it's just basics. It's a lot of this is basics, and then but when you throw millions of dollars into YouTube, or the kids hear about what this Mr. Beast or whatever is making 10 million, however they're much making, that is what's throwing a cog into the thinking of these young people is, why do I have to work hard? Why do I have to go to school and learn things if I can just go make YouTube videos? But if you make great YouTube videos with high valuable content that's educational, that is what the YouTube we need.
Yes. So the ones who made those educational YouTube videos and guided the next generation were hitting the root cause, and the ones who did it wrong were not hitting the root cause. And the root cause is not in just in i- in just advancement for the sake of advancement. The root cause is to look and make each individual stronger. Stronger in the sense, now strong is again a vague word. What I mean is, thinking right is a skill. Right action is what the ancients called it, right karma. So ultimately, it boils down to equipping at the individual, the macro and the micro levels, the what it takes to do right action is what I think you're also saying. Because if everyone were to know what is the right action to take at this moment, tech nirvana.
And that's so we're talking about incentives now, and that's one of my favorite things. Charlie Munger says, you get what you incentivize, and what are we incentivizing right now? We're incentivizing um, people. We're incentivizing people to earn dollars above anything else. Um, and it's not, and we're not giving support. We're not giving enough guidance to people to know what to young people to know what the right thing is, and that's what can change when the internet is provided to to everybody, and it is to incentivize better behavior, and that's what we should be doing. There's independent. This is a free country, they say, right? But so-called land of the free. Um, but if we, so you can't. So there's an inherent freedom that we all feel in this country, and that you want to have your independence. But there is, but I would love to get paid to do the right thing, and I think that is what a lot of other people would love to get to, is to just make money for doing the right things. Instead of what's going on now is kids are in America, kids are forced to go to school as in high school, grade school, right? And then the government says, okay, well, we want you to go to college, so here we'll give you a bunch of loans, then you pay us back. How is that investing? That's not investing. That is taking advantage, and that is makes me furious. Um, but the internet, what the internet allows is the access economy, where kids, people can learn almost anything on the internet now, and it's the there's still value in going to university, but it is a whole new ball game when with the internet here and with internet 2.0.
No comments. All right.
Do we have any questions? We gotta be wrapping this up. All right. Well, um, it was great to talk about this out loud. I'm Jeffrey.mba. You can go to my website there. Call myself the Black Swan Central Banker. Another nickname I have for myself is Next Level Jobs on the Moon. Um, uh, I usually write. So, that you want to read my book, I got a few books. I got a few different author names as well. Um, Theory of Monotivity is written by Jeffrey Optimus Salinger. The Species Contract um, in V2, which is my main book. That's written by Jeffrey James Rex. And then the book that I'm currently working on is called Witness Me Drift Tokyo to the Moon, and that's by Jeffrey James Supernova.
Uh, would just like to say that um, I'd like to introduce a little bit about Krishna Kash Technology Services. Krishna Kash is, I would still say, it's a child. It's growing. Um, what we what we believe in is four pillars of a successful business, and we're here to serve businesses. Our current audience happens to be small to medium sized businesses and startups, but that's not a rule. We are open to larger businesses. What we call four pillars of a successful business are technology, which is also the foundation, a strong accounting system. So your finance and accounting, a dotted line to the HR, compliance, state compliance, HR compliance. Humans are, important part of any organization. So doing the right HR, the HR technology, as well as, your payroll, etc. And the fourth pillar is marketing and outreach. Um, so our services focus on these four pillars, and out of which the strongest is the fintech bridge, the finance technology bridge is what we have decided to focus on. So full charge bookkeeping, all the boring paperwork that you don't want to do. You want to be state compliant. You want to focus on your business and not on all the, you know the no, I wouldn't say bureaucracy, whatever it is that is essential, that needs to get done. And you don't want to wait till the end of the year. You want to check your system quarterly, monthly, daily, and annually. And so that's what we're here for. But what gives us an edge is we come from a technology background, and so we evaluate the cloud software that we use. We absorb the cost of the software that we use for the companies sometimes. We also give advice in that area. Um, uh, Not just being like bookkeepers who would be doing the actual work, but we kind of look behind the scenes. We partner with these corporations, for example, Intuit or Oracle. We partner with them we report bugs, fix bugs. So we kind of are more proactive than just doing the necessary accounting work. And that pretty much. And of course, in marketing, I would like to introduce that we have a very simple Windows desktop tool called Krishnadoot. Krishnadoot, friendly messenger Krishnadoot. And what it does is it sends SMS campaigns. We're working on having email campaigns as well. And very simple, you can have as many contact lists as you want. You can have different audiences. You can have the message, campaign message for the different contact lists. And then you maintain the respective opt-out lists, respect your audience. And when they say stop, you stop. So very simple tool. And we just happen to build it, and so we have it. Um, I just wanted to introduce that, and we're giving a very special discount on that tool as well for all the delegates.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you one more time for our panelists. All righty, well, get ready to embark on an exciting journey as we discuss moving beyond crypto, how blockchain can transform businesses in our next fireside chat. This will be a dynamic conversation that reveals its incredible potential to revolutionize the business world. So please put your hands together for our speakers, Osama Sabbath, President and founder of Bedrock, and Rodney Wild, President and CEO of A through Z Computer Solutions.
Thanks, everyone. Yep. Rodney, how are you?
Good yourself?
Great, great. Well, thanks everybody for coming to this session. We'll make sure to keep it exciting and take as many questions as we can. My name is Osama Saba. I am the president and founder of Bedrock Technology, a supplier enablement solution that simplifies the supplier journey. With me, I have Rodney Wild. Rodney,
Hi.
want to tell us a little bit more about yourself?
You sure? My company, A to Z Computer Solutions, we're mainly a support company as well as software development. Um, we're actually doing some stuff that is cohesive with the topic of conversation today.
Awesome, thank you. So what we're going to talk about today is how blockchain can transform businesses. And what I'd like to start it with is talking a little bit about, the history of crypto, the history of blockchain, and how it came all together. And so to start with, blockchain technology and cryptocurrency have undergone a remarkable evolution since its inception in 2009 as Bitcoin. Initially, it was deployed as the underlying technology for Bitcoin. Blockchain served as the public ledger for all transactions on the network, ensuring that there is a transparency and security without the need for a central authority. That by itself was a revolution, call it. In a way or another, there's no need for a bank, and now I can actually do a transaction without having to call my bank or go through the actual banking. And then over the year, the potential of blockchain technology has expanded far beyond just supporting cryptocurrency. It has sparked a lot of interest in virtuous sectors because of its ability to provide a decentralized, transparent, and secure system for many applications. And it goes from finance to supply chain to healthcare to digital identification and verification. With that said, Rodney, do you want to tell us a little bit about how you guys are utilizing it today in your business?
We're collaborating with the Psi Foundation. They're a cryptocurrency-based blockchain that supports distributed storage. For the most part here, this allows there's two people that are part of that group. The first is the renter here that rents storage, and the second group is hosts that host storage. Um, Essentially, that allows a renter that has Psi, and that's spelled SAI, crypto coin, to rent storage from a host machine that could be anywhere out on the internet. It's encrypted, has a lot of redundancy in it. For the most part here, um, if you're storing data on the network, that data gets broken up into blocks. That those blocks have uh, redundancy built in so that a number of hosts can go down that stores your data without you actually losing it. Um, the application that we're developing with regards to this, cooperating with the Sci Foundation, they're supporting the project, allows us to back up servers um, out on the Sci network uh, with SciCoin. Um, the module that we're actually kind of building two modules. Uh, the modules that we're building here are for Proxmox, which is a hosting platform, very similar to VMware or the cloud, if you're using AWS. Um, that essentially allows people Proxmox backup, or sorry, Proxmox servers to back up their data uh, into the Psi network, or any other S3 network that's compatible. That includes Amazon. So that's what we're doing here, and hopefully that allows people to back up large amounts of data for a very small amount of money. It's very, it's actually significantly less expensive than Amazon.
Oh, that,
I'll take it back to you because I know you have
no,
a
that's
great task as well.
no, no, that's wonderful. It makes a lot of sense because again, AWS costs a lot of money, and if we can scale it in a better place and be able to store that data, it's a no-brainer, right? And it's going to be a lot more secure, in my opinion.
Well, and it's distributed. One of the things that we currently see with all of the things that are happening in the environment right now here, flooding is a big problem. If you have all your data in one place and it floods out, at that point you lose your data. Um, so to have your data spread around the world, um, if you have storms in one place, that might take out one or two hosts, but it doesn't take out your data. Um, we're big proponents of making sure that everybody has their data backed up. As an IT person, the last thing I want to tell a customer is that they lost their data, even if it's not my fault. We want to make sure that that we never have to tell people that. We keep telling people back up your data, back up your data, back up your data. Very, very important.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you for that. From there, I'll share some of the things I guess that happened that I see in supply chain. Let's talk about specifically the impact of blockchain technology on global supply chains, how it's offering transparency, accuracy, and security. I don't know if some of you remember in 2015 there was an Ebola breakout, and that was at Chipotle. During that time, if you guys remember, there was a drop in the stock of 46%. Obviously, if we would have bought it, we would have made a lot of money today. But at that time, that outbreak was obviously a disaster for the company. The issue here was that they were unable to identify where did it exactly happen and how to actually stop it. And the reason is there is actually no ledger out there that was going to tell us where did it happen, how to stop it, and how to fix it from that perspective. And so since then, there's been a lot of companies that have been trying to tackle that specifically through the blockchain technology and be able to create a decentralized ledger that records every transaction of movement of goods in the supply chain. And so now you can actually go back and you can see it. But what's even more important than that is that nobody can alter it. So if there is an outbreak, if there is an issue, somebody can actually go in there and change it, and now you lost the actual authenticity of the old data. Now with the blockchain technology, it is capturing everything in real time, telling you exactly where the goods went, when did it actually get stopped, and nobody can change it. And that by itself can help, obviously, if in case there's any kind of health concerns that may come in the future. Another company that I can think about is Budweiser. Budweiser, for the longest time, they've had a massive problem with the leakage because they constantly lost kegs, right? On their inventory, every single time they do an actual count, they're losing it. And so what they're implementing today is a blockchain technology that will actually capture every part of the actual transaction and every single place that it actually moves to and be able to capture where the inventory is moving to make sure that that leakage doesn't obviously happen. And then last but not least, we see a lot of food to table or farm to table, right? The concept is obviously huge. Everybody enjoys it. Um, but do we know exactly where did it come from? Do we understand who are the suppliers? Did we verify those suppliers? And can we even go beyond that and verify the supplier of the supplier and make sure that everything is compliant, that we're getting the right inventory that we actually requested, and make sure that we can also trace it back. So these are some of the examples that I think about when I think about supply chain, which is exciting to me, obviously, because that's where I live generally. From here, there is something actually that I would like to ask start with you, Rodney, and then maybe everybody that's over here. One of the questions that I can never answer, I can answer partially, but I can't answer it completely, is um, blockchain by itself in crypto, it utilizes a lot of energy, right? There's a lot of footprint um, for the environment and sustainability. So the question is as this continues to grow, as we continue to discover how far it can go, how can we make sure that it will be sustainable, that it's not going to affect the environment, and it's going to sustain? And one of the examples that I know about, which is only one actually, and hopefully you guys can enlighten us more, and you, Rodney, is the change from proof of stack to proof of work. That's what the Ethereum network started on, and now we're going to obviously Ethereum 2.0, and that by itself is gonna decrease that carbon footprint a ton. Another general example that I don't know a lot, but it makes sense, is as all of these companies are producing all of that carbon, how can we create incentives to make it carbon offsetting? So how can we start actually investing at the same time in renewable energy that can actually save? And so from here, I guess I'll ask you, Rodney, if you have any thoughts on that, and then if anybody in the audience might have an answer for that.
That's a fairly tough question, and you're putting me on the spot.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
I think proof of work versus proof of stake, allows for less complicated algorithms, and so that's obviously they're able to come to a consensus much quicker, which allows for less energy. Um, I think inherently you're going to, there has to be some sort of computational aspect of that in order to make sure that transactions are unique and provable and and get them on chain. Um, am I the guy to tell you what the next the next evolution of blockchain? I am definitely not that guy. But at the end of the day here, I'm sure there are smarter people thinking on that. Um, I'm, you know, I think using renewables is a very important part of that aspect. Um, I don't think we can move fast enough in that direction, but if you take a look at the amount of energy that's required, it's pretty significant. I think we certainly need to be, and it's obvious, by virtue of the fact that we've moved from proof of work to proof of stake, you know, that we are thinking in that direction. Um, and there are people that are again much smarter than me that are thinking of the next evolution of blockchain. Um, I think that's going to come from Bitcoin or Ethereum. Those are the two biggest blocks out there. Um, but I think there's lots of other people doing equally amazing research into blockchain.
That makes a lot of sense. And honestly, I'm a 100% believer in exactly what you said. Through collaboration is the only way that we're going to find answers to these tough questions. Um, one of the things that also sparks in my head is as we continue to configure what that tech stack looks like, I think there should be, and as crypto continues to grow, and obviously we've seen how much it has gone up in the past couple of weeks, exactly, there should be a certain crypto, call it currency, that incentivizes that. And if you actually build your environment or build your utility, um, on specifically renewable energy, offsetting the carbon footprint, then you're going to be incentivized by getting that type of, call it income or dollar value, or sorry, crypto value, back to your company. Does anybody else have any ideas? Paul? No, thank you. That makes a lot of sense. Go ahead. No, no, I love that answer, because when we think people in the community, in the crypto community or in the blockchain community, anytime you say regulation, everybody freaks out. But that's a perfect example where regulation actually fits for the better of the actual technology and then the people and the environment. Thank you.
I think the one thing that we need to keep in mind from a company perspective, companies are in business to make a profit. They're not going to do something unless there's a good reason for them to do that from a profit perspective. Um, I think newer generations of people that come behind me um, have higher expectations than I have. And they are now expecting, companies to be more efficient, to be able to, you know, put less carbon into the atmosphere.
No, that makes a lot of sense. One of the things that I also think about is that everybody, uh, separate from the crypto world and the blockchain world, everybody talks about ESG, right? But we always talk about the E, the environment. But not enough people are talking about the social aspect of things. What I would love to see is as we develop those applications, as we develop those companies, now we start actually including the social aspect of it. What does that mean? That if I have an actual application and you are a user, whether you're a consumer or a provider, if you utilize actually my application, then I'm going to actually give you shares in the company. I'm going to actually issue for you the currency or the crypto that I actually have. And now it makes you feel like an actual owner when you're utilizing that technology or when you're using it. And with that, you always want it to be having the highest reviews, the highest remarks. And I think if we start also pushing on the social aspect of things, all of us together will take that technology to the next level. Anybody else? Okay, that's everything that I had. Rodney?
I think I'm done too. I don't really have too much more to say
Oh,
about it.
go ahead, gentleman in the back. No, 100%. You're absolutely correct. With that, thanks everybody. I hope this was informative, exciting for all
Thank
of you.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. All righty, give it up one more time for our panelists, guys. It's great. And then I do want to let you guys know there has been a little bit change in our time frame. So we're going to take about a 20-minute break and then you can find us back, okay? Thank you so much. Alrighty. Hi, everybody. So thanks so much. Alrighty. So this next topic we're going to dive into, it's a virtual topic. It's the importance of responsible innovation and reskilling the era of Gen AI. In this era of generation AI, it's crucial to innovate responsibly and make sure we're prepared for the changes ahead. Keep this in mind. Our experts will explore how we can adapt and learn new skills to thrive in this exciting era. Can we please welcome Dennis Trinkle, Senior Vice President of Talent Strategy and Partnerships at TechPoint, and the panelists, please? I was told to keep it going as fast as possible. I'm just reading a script. I'm not the one in charge of the time frame. So, yep. Do we have a do we have David or sorry, Dennis Trinkle? Perfect. Thank you.
Dennis will not intro. You should intro everybody, right?
Yeah, no, I thought you were moderating.
You're
Are you moderating? Okay.
Yeah, please.
Can everybody
Sweet.
can everybody hear us? There we go. Outstanding. Well, thank you for being with us this afternoon. Well, it sounds like we are running a little bit early, so we are going to go ahead and get started. Delighted to be with such an esteemed group of commentators this afternoon, exploring what we think is already and sure to be an increasingly vital topic for all of us. The question is, how can we have responsible innovation and also be aware of the reskilling needs that are necessary to make sure that we're addressing AI equitably in the age of generative AI. So that's our topic. I'm going to let each of our panelists introduce themselves. We have a great roster of questions and hope to have time for a lively discussion at the end